Hello, so good to see you. Welcome to this week's video. Today, I'm going to be sharing the things that I invest in my business. But first, before I dive into it, I'll just introduce myself. I am Beck Sands. I'm a business mentor for ex-corporate women who are looking to grow it and scale online coaching or consulting businesses. I did this myself, leaving after 12 years in corporate PR and communications in 2019, and I launched my own business and have successfully grown it to multi six figures. And I've got an online freedom based business with retainer consulting clients and one on one coaching clients. And I absolutely love working in my business. And I love supporting other women to create businesses that feel so good for them as well. So let's dive into this week's topic, which is the 8 things that I consistently invest in my business. Now, I know that when you're starting out, particularly, it can be so hard to figure out what to invest in and when. And I feel like there's always, like, particularly with online business, for some reason, there's so much content coming at us saying, invest in this, invest in this, invest in this. And it can feel really overwhelming. And we can certainly get shiny object syndrome, which is basically when you're looking around and everything seems to be the right thing. And then you get really confused. Excuse me, you get really confused as to what it is that you should actually invest in, right? Now, I'm going to share the things that I invest in now in my business, but this is nearly 5 years into my business. And certainly I did not invest in these things consistently right at the beginning. So it's really about picking and choosing. And so I'm going to go through them, but I'm just going to share a little bit about like maybe when to consider investing in these things as well. So the first thing that I consistently invest in and have always invested in my business is a business coach or a mentor to help ensure my growth and accountability. Because particularly when you're starting a business, working for yourself, and you're coming from a corporate background where you've had that kind of team and that accountability from your boss, right? Like you've had to achieve what you need to achieve in your role. So you're accountable to that. When you're in business for yourself, it can feel really sometimes hard to be accountable just for yourself or to keep yourself accountable, because it can feel like sometimes there's so much going on that it can really be hard to figure out what is the next thing to work on. And particularly if you do try something, it doesn't work or it doesn't generate the results that you want specifically. And then you're like, okay, what do I do next? And then you just feel like, like I'm not sure what to do. And that's totally normal because, in business, there will be things that you'll try that won't work. So having a business mentor or coach to help to support you through those things and to navigate that and make decisions is so important. And how I've chosen my coaches, I've always had the most incredible coaches and gotten so much out of it. And how I've chosen those is by firstly, like someone that I really resonate with, but also someone that's done the thing that I want to do before me, right? So I've always looked to someone who's a few steps ahead. I've also taken like online courses with people that may be like a million steps ahead of me. So like before when I started out, I did Marie Forleo's B School. And, I'm sure, if you're watching this, I'm sure you know who Marie Forleo is. And if you don't, definitely Google it. But she's like a million steps ahead in business, right? It feels like. That's amazing to be able to work with those kinds of people on a, global scale, and do their courses and learn from them in that way. But then when I've chosen like a business mentor, it's always been someone that's just a few steps ahead because they can remember where I'm at, and they generally will have a little bit more time to be able to support one-on-one, or to support in the mastermind or whatever it is that I'm taking. So yeah, someone that you resonate with, someone that's gotten the results for themselves and has those proven results for themselves, and then can help you navigate the path to getting those results as well. And that's been the key growth strategy to my business, because I feel like if I had been left to my own devices, I would have really muddled through, and it just wouldn't have been as enjoyable because I would have second guessed myself the whole way and it just, probably not taken the action that I needed to take in order to grow my business. So that's the first thing, is a business coach or mentor. Like I said, start with where you're at. So if you can't afford to invest in a business coach or mentor right now, that's fine. Then, take an online course that's a bit lower cost, or just listen to free resources. And once you kind of start to realize, like, okay, I really do need that next level of accountability, that's when you'll kind of figure out, like, yes, I do need to invest. Because if you're not investing in yourself as well, how can you expect anyone else to invest in you in business? So it's really stepping into that self-worth, self-power, and knowing that you will get the results when you work with that coach, right? Because you're committed to getting those results. Your coach is committed to getting them, to helping you get them, and you're committed to taking the action and getting those results. So it's kind of like cultivating that self-trust. But if you are still cultivating that self-trust and you feel like, I can't afford to make the investment yet, then definitely, like, listen to all the free resources. That's what they're there for, right? They're there to help people that can't necessarily afford or aren't ready yet to take that next step. And I certainly did that for years when I was in corporate and building my kind of business on the side of my corporate job. Okay. I'm going to zip through these now because I do want to keep these videos as short as possible because I know you're probably quite time poor. So the second thing, which I've already mentioned, is the courses to support learning and growth. So in any area that I need support in, I will invest in that. So last year, I actually invested in anti-anxiety courses because I had all this like medical PTSD after surgery, right? And so that was actually the area that I really needed investment in. And so I did that instead of like business courses. But I've done so many business courses. I've done some amazing, amazing business courses. I've never, ever regretted taking any of them. And I've always gotten so much out of them. And I've always like made sure to finish them and, all of that sort of thing. And it's always, the key is implementing. So make sure that you're taking those courses. And again, before you can afford to invest, free content, everyone, free content. So it's either time, money, energy, it's all a commitment, right? So the third thing that I always invest in is going to live events. There are times when it can be trickier to go to live events. So for example, during COVID, which unfortunately was like the first couple of years of my business, there was no events and it was like really tricky in that respect. So I really had to lean into the online side of business. But, now that events are back up and running, I've got so many events booked in this year and I'm so excited. And that's speaking at events as well as going to events, but just making that investment of time and energy will really support your business. The fourth thing is apps that systemize my business and streamline my client journey. So I have, for example, I invest in Satori, which is an online coaching platform, which provides that end-to-end solution for one-on-one coaching clients. So it's like the calendar scheduling, but it goes from here's the link to book in, and then like the payments and the invoicing and the contract and the reminders and everything like that. So I use Satori, which I find is the best one-to-one coaching platform, but it is an investment. And I've got like so many apps. I feel like that's an episode for another time, but so many apps where I invest in my business to streamline and systemize the processes in my business and make it easier for myself. I always invest in my accountant. So I've got my accountant on an annual retainer, and then I also will book in sessions with my accountant, sometimes quarterly, just to make sure I'm on top of my taxes, my BAS, my projected forecast, and making sure that I'm maximizing and streamlining all of those things, because I always want to be able to be on top of my finances and be on top of my taxes and my P&L and all of that kind of thing. Photography. So I will get photography at least kind of like once a year, because it's so important when you've got a personal brand business to have those fresh images, right? And those images that you can share. So definitely photography. And then I will get support as needed. So, for example, I've got a podcast editor. I've had a VA in the past. I don't right now, but I have had a VA for a couple of years in my business doing a lot of the things that I didn't want to do, as well as PR consulting support in my business. And then the final thing is tech equipment. So that means investing in a really great laptop, microphone, headphones, all of those kinds of things. Okay. So those are the 8 things that I invest in consistently in my business. And I would love to hear from you. So make sure you DM me or email me and let me know what you're investing in your business right now, because it's a business and not a hobby. Have the best day. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you sign up for my freebie, The Business Scale, if you haven't already. Yeah, jump on over to my website, becksands.com, to grab that freebie. Have the best day, and I'll see you next week.